So I need to know if I'm the a-hole or not. I had an argument with my mother, and I called her delusional. Let's start from the beginning because this is a crazy story. My mom died when I was 6 years old. My dad ended up turning to one of his good friends, Anna, and they ended up getting married when I was 7. Anna brought up the idea of adopting me the day of the wedding. It was something my dad was all for, but I went nuts when she mentioned it to me, and I kinda spoiled the rest of the wedding. For the next year, we did this really intense therapy, where I was told over and over again by therapist and them that I needed a mom. That it would provide safety for me, and that it was not a betrayal of my mom to accept another loving mom into my life. The therapist put the recommendation into the court to approve it, but when the judge spoke to me, I told him that I would run away, and that I would do everything to never come back. I was 8 at the time, and I meant business. He asked me why I did not want to be adopted, and he genuinely listened. And when he addressed the court again, he denied the adoption request and told my dad and Anna that until I was on board, no adoption would be approved in his court. They did try again, requesting a different judge, but received the same response. I was asked constantly just to change my mind. Anna would put her all into trying to fill the place of a mom in my life. Every time I told her she could never be my mom, she took it as a challenge to try harder and better. And she would dedicate so much time to me, it was crazy. I never appreciated it because instead of just being Anna, and instead of my dad telling her to just be Anna, she saw mom as the only thing she wanted. Even when she had kids of her own, I was the oldest son. I was her son, her boy, and she'd call herself a boy mom. Whereas, I never called her mom. If we're being honest, I don't even love her after all these years. I see her as more of an intrusive family member who just won't stop. My relationship with my dad is almost not the best because I don't like that he would not take no for an answer. And that he was so quick to try to push an adoption. Even after I told him I would rather be with grandparents, or aunt and uncles, or close friends of family if he died, he insisted being with Anna, and her being my mom was the best for me. I turned 18 a few months ago, and I ran like my butt was on fire to get away from Dad and Anna. I lived with my maternal grandparents for a little while before moving in with my maternal uncle, who lived near a really good apprenticeship I wanted to join. My paternal grandparents celebrated their wedding anniversary this past weekend, and well, I was there. While there, Anna approached me and handed me papers for an adult adoption. She told me she loved me and she wanted me to know it's not too late, that she'd still adopt me and she wanted to make our relationship official as mother and son. I asked her how she could be so delusional when I've said no to being adopted for 11 years. I told her I would not change my mind. She and my dad were so mad at my choice of words, and well, chaos ensued at the party. So, am I the a-hole? Drop your comments down below. The comment on this one says, her continued insistence all these years and the way she goes about it is sus AF. Is there a deeper and hidden reason for her insistence? What else does she stand to gain if you accept it, or lose if you refuse? Hold your ground, not the a-hole. Guys, I want to know exactly your thoughts on this story. Drop them down below and tell me what you would do in this position of OP. The next story we're going to look at comes complete with an update, and the title is, Would I be the a-hole if I took over planning my funeral? From my very religious parents, and let me just say there's a trigger warning attached to this story. It's pretty emotional and sad. Hello all. Well, if it isn't obvious already from the title, I'm dying. I don't feel the details are super relevant to the issue at hand, but for those who are curious about my ultimate demise, I have cystic fibrosis, and after 2 rejected lung transplants, I've been told there isn't anything else they can do except keep me comfortable in my last few weeks. I've begun my preparations for my funeral and such, and while I was thinking it would be a breath of fresh air in this whirlwind of death, I could not have been more wrong. Now, on to the title. My parents are both strict Southern Baptist and want a very traditional funeral. This includes hymns to be sung during the memorial, a casket and graveside service, a viewing, countless prayers during the memorial, scripture to be read, etc. My issue with this is, well, everything. I'm the complete opposite of my parents. Not religious, curse like a sailor, drink like the Irish, you name it. Everything they're wanting and attempting to plan is not me as a person. I've somehow made it to 25 and managed to meet the man of my dreams and marry him last year, and well, he's torn. He wants me to have it exactly as I want. He just doesn't want to have to deal with my parents after the fact while actively grieving. I have 2 siblings, one of which is a clone of my parent, and one that's a mixture of my parents and myself. I want my service to be one full of laughter, funny stories, and pictures, upbeat music, heck, cats. My husband and I are avid cat lovers. I want confetti and shit. But more importantly, I want to be cremated and put in a ducking cat-shaped urn. I told my husband I wanted my ashes to be handed out like party favors, so my family and friends can take me with them because, well, I love to travel, and he looked horrified. My parents are absolutely not on board and are essentially planning everything how they want it. Attempting to take me shopping for a casket, flowers, picking out hymns and verses. The whole deal, and I'm obviously not very pleased. So, I guess my question would be, would I be the a-hole if I took control of my own funeral and wrote a will to be followed exactly how I want? I understand my parents are grieving, and I've tried to compromise with a mixture of both my views and theirs, but they aren't having it. I never thought dying would be so ducking stressful, and I just want to enjoy what time I have left, without leaving a bomb of emotion and disappointment behind. Please help. Hey guys, Mr. Reddito here. There's an update for this story, but I just want to give a trigger warning. It does get emotionally sad, and it does deal with death. If you're not ready to hear that, you can skip to the final story, or you can see this update. I hope you guys are having an amazing day, and remember to give your loved ones a hug because you never know when it could be the last. Here's your update. Hello everyone. Thanks for all your kind words, support, and love that everyone's offered. These weeks have been the most difficult I've ever experienced, and it's with great sadness to tell you that I am not OP. I'm her husband, and my beautiful cat-crazy wife has passed. I've had to cut this short due to character limits, sorry y'all, but she did leave you all a little note. Guys, I've copied everything verbatim below. She truly loved everyone and was smiling so much after her first post. I'll take my leave here. Much love, guys. Hey guys, if you're reading this, well, I'm dead. Pretty crazy to be talking as a dead person, eh? It feels a bit strange to be writing this, it feels a bit disconnected, I'm sorry. I have to take frequent breaks as I get tired pretty quickly now. My husband offered to write these words. Such a sweet ham, I know, be nice to him, okay? But I wanted my last words to be written by me. Long story short, we talked to my parents. A lot of people asked about why my husband wasn't planning the funeral, and my parents were taking control. Honestly, my parents did not take the news of my passing really well, and I suppose their closure was to try to take control of what they could. I'm not angry at them for it. I understand. They've already prepaid a large portion of the service and put a plain and simple. It was a shit hand and they were dealt it. So we talked to them, I laid it all out for them, and somehow we reached a compromise. Lots of tears, lots of hugs, and surprisingly lots of laughs. They admitted that they've been losing their faith with everything that's happened, and their way to attempt to find it again was to take control and guide me into the afterlife. Not my thing, though, and I explained that I'm not them, but their daughter, who wanted to live her last weeks in peace, not the turmoil they were putting me through. And while a lot of people stated that funerals are for the living, true, I firmly believe that a funeral is for the living to remember that person as who they were, not what anyone else wanted them to be. My parents seemed to understand when I told them that. They were not on board with the party favor aspect though, kind of a bummer. Pretty lucky to plan my own funeral, honestly. But now that it's all said and done, thank you guys. I was blown away by the responses. I was moved to tears, and I wish I had the chance to meet every single one of you. You all be good now, alright? Just take it one day at a time. Just enjoy your frickin' self, man. You only get one life. Unless you're someone who survived death, then you're just a freaking hero, and probably a cat with a few lives to spare. I love you all. I'm resting easy now, don't worry about me. This disease sucks, and I'm happy to be rid of it. And laugh and love and cry and be sad, shit happens, man. Well, I gotta go now. I'm gonna go snuggle with my husband and my cats. Keep it real, guys. I love you all. This is one of the saddest stories that I've read in a long time. I had to fight back tears after I read the update and found out OP was no longer with us. Guys, let me know your thoughts on this. Drop them down below. I would love to hear it. The final story of the video is an Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for refusing to pay alimony to my cheating ex-wife? I met my wife in my early 30s. She was in her mid-20s at the time. I was already well established and had made a significant amount of money, working as a quaint and investing my savings diligently. She, on the other hand, had never gone to college and was content just working for basically minimum wage. So when I meet, we click instantly, and I fall head over heels for her. We get married and move in together, and soon after have 3 children. When we were expecting our firstborn, she had told me she wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. Obviously, I was jealous, but I went along with it since it seemed logical. So, she spends the next 20-plus years as a stay-at-home mom taking care of our kids, while I work 12-hour days and then some. I'm not demeaning stay-at-home moms, by the way, but in the context of our marriage, she had an extremely easygoing lifestyle. A couple years ago, I discovered, well, guess what? She's been cheating on me with her friend's husband. Divorce obviously followed. The only major asset we had in the US was our house, which was a premarital asset. We had a shared bank account, but since I am a finance guy, I handled all our investments, and for tax reasons invested it abroad in my home country. Now, if we had just grown apart or said she was unhappy, I'd have no problem paying what's fair. But the fact that she cheated on me is what makes me resent paying her $1. So, in the divorce, she's awarded half of our investments made during marriage, 90% of which are abroad in my name, along with alimony for 20 years for 30% of my pay. So, here I am given an opportunity to get out of this entirely by moving back to my home country and never looking back. So, I sell our house as fast as possible, move the money abroad, and move back to my home country, while stringing her along about why it's taking so long to liquidate our savings. Once abroad, I immediately stop the alimony payments. Now, she has no legal recourse. I've double-checked with lawyers, and is left with her share of the small amount we had in the States. The reason I'm asking here is that my own children are split on this. My son's on my side 100%, while my daughters are 90% on their mother's side. I figured it would be interesting to see opinions of people here.